Okay, we're going to have a look at the Collet block. This is an oval Collet block and it goes from sizes 4 to 14 millimeters. Now, and it's, if you see there, it says, if you can see it, it says 17 degrees. The degrees, well, let me show you the ring first. The degrees, they refer to the amount of slope you get on the side of your collet, basically. And a collet is one of these. It's a little cup that goes onto a ring or a pendant or whatever you like, really. And it's oval and it's shaped inwards at the side. And this is 17 degrees. You can get them also in lots of shapes. You can get them in round, oval, square, hexagon. It's limitless what you can do. So let's put that on one side. What it also comes with is one of these, and this is the punch that goes in to the block. Now, this is very vulnerable, this point. I do mine on a cork base so that it doesn't hit, say, a steel block or my wooden workbench or whatever. I'm very, very careful with the tip on that. So that's basically what a collet is. So we're not going to deal today with soldering and sawing, all the things that we've covered before. We're going to really try and concentrate on the collet. Now, what do we do first? We get our stone and we measure our stone. Now, I'm going to write this down. I've measured my stone. Sorry, I won't, I'll come where you can see me. I've measured my stone, and my stone is 6 by 4, which is obviously an oval to go with the block. So I'm going to move that stone out of the way. I've got that stone just on a little bit of sticky tack so that I'm less likely to lose it and it's less likely to get knocked off the bench. So, right, so we need to write down the measurement of our stone. Now, 6 by 4, no, sorry, 6 plus 4, my mistake, equals 10. And if you divide that by 2, that gives you the, if it was a round, that gives you the radius. So we then end up with 5 millimeters. Now you multiply that by 3.14, which is pi, basically. But please don't be put off by all this. It's ever so easy. You've got a Collet calculator, you've got your calipers, so it's really, really easy. So don't worry about it in the slightest. So basically we take 5, which is our diameter, times 3.14 equals 15.7. 15.7. Now you add on the thickness of your metal. I'm using 0.8. So I'm going to add that on as well. So 15.7 plus 0.8 equals 16.5. I wanted to write it down so that you could, you could take a screenshot or whatever. You then need to get the depth, and the depth of my stone was 2.5, but I've added on 1 millimeter just for sawing, filing, all the bits and pieces that we're going to do to it. So that is 3.5. Okay, now I'll do this quite quickly because I know this is actually the very boring bit, but it is essential, I promise you. Now, where have I put my calipers? Now, what you need to do is get your sheet of metal. As I say, this is 0.8. And you need to zero those out. You need to put your 16.5. Let's see, 16.5. There we go. Tighten up the calipers, and that's the length of the metal you need to make your collet. So then you mark that on your piece of silver. You also need to mark on your piece of silver the depth, which we've got a 3.5. So let's turn those around so you can see them. So 3.5. Can never get these things exact. You're always diddling about. There we go. Near as will do me. Go back one more. Yeah, there we go. That'll do. 3.53. And what you do then is scratch onto your silver down the side. This is an edge. This is a clean edge, how the silver arrived to me. So I've got at least, well, in fact, I've got 2 straight edges because I've got a corner. So I've got 2 straight edges there, and we need to keep those as clean as possible, because we can square everything else up against it. So let's turn those off. We've finished. So that's your measuring and your mathematics. That's all finished now. So you've now got marks on your metal there. Ooh, sorry. There we go. On the metal like that. So we need to saw out that piece of metal. That is then the metal you need to make your collet. So I'm going to, as I say, I'm not going to deal with sawing today. We've dealt with that before. We want to try and get to the collet, because that's what you're looking at. So what next? So what we do now is we've got our straight piece of metal. We need some we need 2 pairs of round nose pliers. Let's reach those. So we need 2 pairs of round nose pliers, and we get our piece of metal, our straight piece of metal, and we curl it. Now this is only a tiny one. If you've got a bigger one, then you can use your half round pliers, your forming pliers. But this is so tiny, you need to use your round nose pliers and make a tight join. Now the join has to be tight. There's no good if it's got gaps in it. It needs to be clean, it needs to be straight, it needs to be touching more than anything. And I use a little bit more solder because we're going to hit it with a hammer into the block. I use a lot more solder on this than I would normally if I was just doing decorative pieces. So there we are. I've soldered that, I've pickled it, and that's what we've ended up with. So I'm going to move. We finished with all the sums going back to school. Right, so let's bring this over. Let me move all the things off it first. Right, so let's bring the block in. That's my piece of cork that I use on mine, and that's the block, obviously. Now what you need to do is this piece of metal that we've just turned and soldered, we need to put it into the block. We've finished with those round nose pliers now. We need to put it into the block. I've got a rawhide mallet here, and we're going to start much larger than we need, just to start getting these pieces into shape. So that's bigger than we need, so I'm going to pop it in there. There we go. Alright, let's get that out. Now, annealing often is, I mean, this will test your solder joints, you believe me. And very frustrating if your solder joint splits, but it does happen. far too often, really. So keep annealing, heat it up, cool it down, which will soften it, and then start again. But I'm not going to do that today. We're going to go on a bit further without annealing. So don't hold it against me if this splits. It's because it's not being annealed. So we're going to go. I'm looking for number 7. That's what I'm looking for. There we go. Because I know from making the ones I've got to show you, I know that that's what we went down to. So we're going to skip very quickly over this. I'm going to show you the rudimentaries. So I'm just going to stand up. So we've got that in number 7. I'm going to do it in number 8 first, I think. I'm going to go back to number 8 and I'm going to pop this in. Now, as I say, be very, very careful. So it needs to be straight up and down. Move it around. There we go. And if you can see, it's now coming into some sort of shape. And if we look at the bottom, you probably see that that's tapered already. Let me move that. Yeah, that's tapered already. So as I say, I'm doing this very, very quickly. It's not going to be perfect, but this is, you take more time than I will, but this is the method you use. And then we're going to hit that in a bit more. I'll be surprised if this doesn't split, seeing as it hasn't been annealed. I'm going to work that around again, get it into shape. What we need to do now is get a file. Let me move up a little bit. Get a file and file it down. You need to file it level with the block. So you work, as you can see, you're working it and working it, so it will get very hard and very brittle. So let's I'm going to stop there. That's not far enough, but I'm going to stop there. And when you've come level with the block, you then bring in your sanding stick and you go over. And can you see that? It gives you, and I will lift it up in a second and show you. It gives you the most beautiful finish. There we go. As I say, not perfect, but that's the basics of how you use the Collet block. I've got one here that I've started that I'm going to bring in that is level, or virtually level with the block. So this is the one we're going to use because I've already worked on this. So we're going to leave that like that. Whoops, about that. Pop that back in. So we're going to get the sanding stick on that. Get that gorgeous edge. Look at that, shining like anything. There we go. Shining away there. I'm happy with that. We're going to take that out now. So what we need to do next, actually we'll work on this cork mat. So what we're going to do next is we've measured our, let's just try it. It's probably, let's try putting that in there. There we go. It shouldn't go in all the way because I'm brushing. They are a bit fiddly, and we don't want it to go in all the way. We want it to do that. We want it to sit on top of, I'll tell you what, let's turn this light off, see if that's any better. So we're going to cut a seat for that stone, which is there. I'm going to try and pick that up and show you. See if I can get it any closer. There you go. It's just, I've moved it now, picking it up. It's just going to sit on that top rim, and it's ready to have the seat cut in it. Now, what you'd do at this stage is, if you were making a ring, you would actually put on your ring band. And if you put on your ring band, it makes it a lot easier to hold and do all the bits and pieces that you want to do at it. But I'm going to try and do this holding it in my hand. I don't know how successful this will be. Let me bring this across. What I've got here is a setting burr. Can you see that? Shaped like a little diamond. Straight sides, pointed end. What we're going to do is go round that rim and cut a little seat in for the stone. So, did I switch that on? Let's have a look. Where's my pedal? So this is going to be difficult, holding this little thing in my hand, particularly with you watching. So what we're going to do is take this top edge of the burr, the straight edge, and we're going to go along the inside, and we're going to cut a seat for this stone. Okay, we're going to get this, hold it in my hand, and as I say, we're going to take that top straight piece, the straight piece across there, along that top edge to make that seat. So let's, there we go. And I'll show you inside once I've done it. I need to turn that over. If you can see, whoops, it is fiddly when I haven't got a ring shank on. The others I've done, I've got ring shanks on, so you can actually put them even into your ring clamp. But anyway, let's press on. We'll do what we can. Let me see if I can do it that way so you can see. All I'm doing is going round the edge, like that. Let's turn that off for a second. Right, let me see if I can show you that. See how shiny it is inside. We'll give it a go and see. Now, fitting the stone, this is a little and often. You need to take a bit off, try the stone, take a bit off, try the stone. But honestly, it is worth it because you get a lovely, neat finish. Let's see. I mean, I didn't take much off on that occasion, so I wasn't expecting this to fit properly. But saying that, it is going in obviously a lot better than it was when it was just sitting on top. So let's push that in a bit. There we go. Yeah, I need to take some more off. So have a look at that. There we go. So what you do is you keep going. I won't keep on with that because, well, we're not going to carry on until it's perfect because it's too timely, takes up too much time. But you carry on with your setting burr and just keep going round and round that edge, trying your stone, doing a bit more, trying your stone until you get the perfect fit. Now I've got one here that I've put into that block. It's a lot tidier than the one I've just shown you. It's there ready to go. I don't know if that stone will fit in this one actually. Let's give it a go. But it hasn't got a seat cut in it, but it is a very, very effective way of setting a stone. So let's not worry about that. Let's not waste your time watching me fiddling around with a little 6x4 stone. So what we do next is, I've got one here now. Let me hold this because I've popped the stone in and I don't want it to fall out because I want to show you what to do next. So I've got, let's see, I'm going to kick my hand over that stone because I don't want it to fall out. So, okay, I've got mine on a ring shank and I've popped it into a ring clamp. I've popped my stone in. Let's level that up. I've popped my stone in, and what I'm going to do next is I'm going to have to stand up, sorry, is to push in from, as you would do with a, you might have to keep your finger on it, is to push in with your pusher. Push in. Ah, sorry, before we do that, and I've already done it on this one, I beg your pardon. What you need to do is file off very gently, thin this wall round here with a file so it's all level. But that just reminded me, because I was trying to push it over. Hope this, if this stone pops out and I lose it on the floor, we're done for. So I'm going to be very careful. So this probably won't work perfectly. So thin your stone until, and if necessary, anneal it again until you've, well, I've literally just had that pusher in my hand and now it's disappeared. Can't believe that. Oh, there it is. Okay, so what you do is, and I won't do it, I'll just talk you through it. You push, say it's north, south, east, east and west. So you go west, push in, you push and you tip over. You go opposite, always opposites, push in, go over, and on the ends. Once you've done those 4 points properly, your stone should be secure. I'm very lucky that this one isn't bobbling about, I do have to say, because it's not fixed in properly. Once you've done that, you get your burnisher. Let me show you that. You get your burnisher, hold it like a peeler and burnish around. This will harden the metal. It will push it more over the metal, and it will give you a lovely shiny finish right next to the stone. So I'll just do one little bit and let you see. Like I say, I'm going to be careful with that stone, don't want it falling out. But that's the way you go. Put my hand on there. That's what it looks like, a sloping bezel. That needs all cleaning up now. It's in the clamp wonky, but it needs all cleaning up once the stone is set and finishing off nicely and polishing. But there you go. That's the way the Collet block works, and you can end up with beautiful rings like this. Hope you enjoyed that. Thank you.